My name is Andrew Higgs. I am the Partner Solutions Specialist lead for Asia when it comes to all things Teams Rooms. My background is I've been at Microsoft for about 3 years, and my background is I used to be a solution architect and practice lead for Microsoft collaboration business in Brisbane, and before that I was a field engineer. So I've been doing this since the days of LCS, OCS, Link, Skype for Business, Teams. As a voice engineer, as well as also video conferencing with Polycom as well. So if you've got any technical questions, I'm happy to answer them along the way. But I've also, with my co-host, who you've probably seen present with me before, Kayla Wilson from CollabTech.
Hi guys, so I'm Kayla from CollabTech. I've been working with Teams not quite as long as Higgsy, but since Skype Room Systems. I think I did my first install about 6 years ago, and since then I've done several hundred rooms and a lot of management work and consulting work around it. It's definitely the area I'm most interested in and excited about, especially now. I think it's the most exciting time in Teams Rooms, for sure.
So today we're going to be talking about all things Teams Pro Portal. The Pro Portal has been a lot of attention at the moment, particularly as we've had some licensing changes. We've been encouraging people to move away from user-based licenses and have their meeting rooms equipped with Teams Rooms Basic or Pro licenses. And today we're going to be talking about just some of the management functionality that you get with that Pro Management Portal. One of the things that we are going to be announcing very, very soon is multi-tenanted access, and I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later on in the presentation today. But we want to make this as interactive as possible, so feel free, as we did with the last session. I know some of you are still here from the last session. Feel free to ask questions along the way. We want to make sure that we get to your questions as quick as possible. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
So yeah, guys. The Pro Portal has been around for a little while, but this iteration of it is the most exciting iteration of it, and it is the future for Teams Rooms management. This is where the majority of all the functions are going. Some of the Pro Room functionality that isn't there yet, things that are tied into Teams Admin Center or things that are tied into even Intune are all coming into the Pro Portal. And we got some exclusive leaks from Ilya. I won't repeat them because they were his leaks to give on his session with Higgsy. Not yesterday, day before. Yeah. Teams Rooms can be complicated. Teams Room solutions can be complicated, and there's a lot of things we need to pay attention to. A large number of peripherals, displays, cameras, etc. The actual Teams Room software itself, OEM hardware and firmware components. We've got Windows operating systems, Android operating systems. We've got phone systems. There's a lot of things going on inside a room environment as a general rule, some more and some less complex. But when we've got a lot of rooms, that complexity elevates by an order of magnitude, especially in terms of things that need to be tracked and organized. What Teams Room Pro Portal is an AI-powered platform to help us simplify that. There's some really powerful components which we'll talk about that do that for us. But the idea is this is a comprehensive management portal. The idea for Pro Portal is that it's going to incorporate everything that we need to manage our fleet of rooms into a single touch point and into a single sort of pane of glass and dashboard where we can see everything. The idea is that it's proactive, both in the insights it gives us and the way it remediates problems. If you're not aware, and Higgs is going to go through it in a bit more detail, having a Pro license and Pro Portal set up is going to allow you to automatically remediate a lot of level 1 and level 2 help desk tasks. They're things that you're just not going to have to do anymore. It's going to be handled for you, and it's very effective. It also allows us to do planning, deployment, and in procurement inside the Pro Portal. So the idea is this is not just a technical tool. This is actually a business tool and an operational tool that it's going to allow us to do more than just alerts and tracking, which is super important and great too. It's actually going to allow us to plan rollouts, plan buildings, procure product, and go through that entire process. And very soon, although it's not officially announced, we're even going to be able to deploy. So here are some of the key components or functionality of Pro Portal: planning and inventory, so managing and tracking what we have, planning for new things, monitoring and operations, making sure things are up and running, making sure things are up to date, checking on that, getting alerts when they aren't. managing our updates, so making sure that devices are as up to date as we need them to be, and controlling updates for certain spaces and rooms. I believe Microsoft best practice, which has been my best practice for a long time as well, is to have our updates into at least 3 rings. Mission critical rooms that just have to always be up, general use rooms, and the Wild West pilot rooms, which are usually in IT or somewhere else, that just get everything immediately. This protects network from traffic. This protects us from potential downtime. It's an important part of managing a large fleet. And last but obviously not least, reporting and insights, understanding how the Teams rooms are being used, when they're being used, what the spaces are like in this new world of reducing real estate footprint, maximizing investments, maximizing the time people have in the office because they are not going to be in the office as much. This is even more important than ever. We need to know how often the rooms are getting used, how they're getting used, what components are getting used, and who's using them in terms of, like, not individuals, but the components of the business that are using them. I'm going to throw over to Higgsy on this one because it's actually something I don't know the technical background of. I know how it works from the front end, but I'm going to do a little bit of listening here too.
So basically, there's an agent that needs to be procured. Now, fundamentally, I'm going to break these down into Teams rooms on Android, Teams rooms, the way that these devices are actually connected. So the Pro Portal, as long as you're obviously allowing access on the firewall to the Teams URLs and Office 365 URLs, you've already done the minimum requirements you need to get these devices to connect into the Pro Portal. It's not another cloud service that's connecting into. It's the same M365 cloud that the customers are residing in. And what actually happens is that there's an agent that gets pulled down from Azure and deployed on your Teams rooms on Windows devices. Teams rooms on Android, they've already got the necessary software running on them in order to be able to connect automatically.
Is the agent coming pre-installed on newer builds though for Teams rooms on Windows?
Correct. So what we actually announced with version 4.17 is that any Teams rooms on Windows device that enrolls into Teams Admin Center automatically will get installed the Teams room. So you get a 4.17 device. As soon as you sign in for the first time, the actual agent fires up for Teams Rooms Pro Portal. But if it doesn't have a Pro license, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to sit there and just go, all right, cool, I'm not going to talk to M365. So the all Windows and Android devices as of today that are new, and I say that with a caveat because obviously if you purchase a Teams Rooms device and it's running 4.16, it's not going to have this ability.
A lot of these devices have been sitting in the warehouse for a while. So,
correct. Yeah, exactly. So, so as long as it's running the current version 4.18 or at least minimum 4.17 for a Windows device, it's automatically going to enroll into the Pro Portal for you. Android devices, once they sign for the first time, they too will also be available to be seen in the Pro Portal. Now, you're going to realize today, when we walk through this, that Android has very limited management capabilities today, and Ilya kind of highlighted as to the reasons why that is in our session on Wednesday. And it comes back down to the fact that from an operating system point of view, the OEM manages the operating system for all of our Android devices. So HP Poly look after the fleet of Studio series and the actual operating system that runs on those. We manage the actual Teams application. So everything from device health and everything like that, we have to engineer, we have to capture that data per OEM, per operating system, and not every single operating system is the same with the Android portfolio. You'll have Android 11, Android 12, Android 13. And so there's no one size fits all when it comes to that. We announced MDEP. So the Microsoft Device Ecosystem Partners, which is the platform, which is our version of Android. Yes, Microsoft are creating a version of Android operating system for Teams Rooms. So that means that if I've got a device that's running our version of Android, eventually it's going to have, it's not released to market yet. Jabra is going to be the first to launch it with their video-based room system. it means that it's going to have additional capabilities from a management point of view with Pro Portal when eventually it comes out. But before we do that, we are going to make sure that as many devices as we can get enrolled into the Pro Portal to have some level of management capabilities. It's not going to be to the extent that we have with Windows because we can't control every single OEM vendor like that.
Mhm.
It's just, it's near impossible task to get to that level. Over time, perhaps. So again, the way that this works is Windows devices automatically enroll, Android devices automatically enroll. If your device isn't of that version, you can manually enroll the device, and you can do that through the Pro Portal. So when you log into the Pro Portal, there's a little question mark. We'll show you on another slide. There's a little question mark up there. And when you click on that, you can download the agent that needs to be installed on your Windows device. Now, you can probably just upgrade to the latest version of Teams Room software, and this will all happen for you. But sometimes, for whatever reason, it doesn't work. You can find the installer from the Teams Room Pro Portal, and you install that on the actual Teams Room Windows device itself, and away you go. We don't have this problem with Android. Android devices, if they're not appearing, they haven't existed inside your tenant long enough. So they have to be in your tenant for a minimum of 15 minutes before they start to appear in the Pro Portal. So once you see a device inside of Teams Admin Center, wait 15 minutes, it'll be inside the Pro Portal. The requirements. So what's required to make sure that Teams Rooms devices are actually signing in and being able to connect into Pro Portal? Obviously, Pro license. You're not going to have any of your devices working on basic licenses to work with Pro Portal. So the Pro license is required. Additional proxy server settings. If you do have a web proxy, it is using web traffic. It is a 443 traffic. There's no additional ports required here. So your web proxy being using 443 traffic needs to be allowed for certain URLs. Again, if your firewall is configured for your Teams URLs and so forth, and port IP address for Office 365, you're probably already covered for this, but I'll go through that in a second. Enabling TPM settings, your device will not enroll if, for whatever reason, TPM has been disabled inside the BIOS on, that's the Trusted Platform module, if for those that don't know, if that's been disabled. So for devices that have already been upgraded to Windows 11, you're probably fine because Windows 11 wouldn't work if you didn't have this enabled. For devices that have had it disabled, it would not enroll if TPM has been disabled inside BIOS.
Yeah, you'd have to be running a pretty old version because the BIOS version needs to be updated anyway, which is going to enable TPM.
Correct.
On the vast majority of devices. So it'd be a very weird situation.
Exactly. We're talking 3,020 devices now. So I don't think anyone's going to be buying those devices. Whitelisting the URLs required for communication. We're going to go through those now and just help you understand what's actually hit into M365. Okay, so you're probably looking at these and going, cool, that's a whole bunch of URLs. But to be fair, you need to allow all of these URLs because for whatever reason, let's say one of our links goes down or your connection all of a sudden reroutes out by EMEA or North America, rather than going through our Asia and Australian data centers and so forth. You need to be able to build redundancy. And if you just you look at this list and go, cool, yep, I'm just going to allow the APAC ones. He's going to allow that one. And I'm not going to do EMEA because, that's another part of the globe, or North America. You need to allow all these URLs so that you have that redundancy. You're not anything. Then we do have multiple URLs here, but it's for redundancy for other reasons. So please make sure that these are being captured for Pro Management Portal connectivity. Yeah. So what happens when you sign into the Pro Portal for the first time? You've logged into the customer's tenant. You're logged into their Pro Portal. And what does first access look like? And what can we do around signing roles? Your customers might have different parts of the organization that only want to manage rooms at a particular site. Again, I'll get to multi-tenant management in a second, but we're going to spend some time talking about the customer tenant. So the way that it's getting access to the Pro Portal, you either have to be a global admin or the Teams Rooms Pro. Sorry. You have to be a global admin. I think it's only global admin now, I remember. you have to be a global admin in order for you to get access to the Teams Rooms Pro portal. You can't just be a Teams administrator or Teams device administrator. You actually have to be you have to be a global admin to get access to this. Now I'll talk about multi-tenant. If you're a Microsoft partner and you are managing rooms on behalf of your customer, so let's say Kalo is a bank firm and I'm a Microsoft partner and I'm going to be managing his meeting rooms on behalf of him because he doesn't want to manage them. He wants to outsource that. He wants me to manage the rooms for him. So we are bringing multi-tenant management. We did have it available for premium for a short period. Pro portal management is launching next month with a first wave of partners and then going public at the tail end of this year. So around November, December timeframe, we're expecting to see public availability of Pro management portal management for partners. So it's going through its first wave next month. Hang on, no, we're in September now. So it's going live for certain partners this month. And then October, sort of November timeframe, we'll start to see that become available for the broader partner community to be able to provide that capability. So if you're a partner, you're building a managed service offering, Pro portal management with multi-tenant access will allow you to obviously manage rooms on behalf of the organization. So Kalo doesn't want me to have a global admin account inside of his tenant. Pretty big security risk, particularly for a financial firm that Kalo is running. He doesn't want me to have that much power. I get that. So that's where multi-tenant management comes in. So he will go through and he will create management accounts for me. So he's got global admin access. He's going to create partner accounts for me to be able to get access to his organization. Then what I can do as a partner, I log into my Pro portal, and then I can see on the left-hand side all of my customers that I manage, and I can just click on his organization, and I can see all the room statistics and health and so forth about how his rooms are performing, and I get all the alerts, and his rooms go down, but also he gets his own dashboard that he sees for his rooms as well. So we get the best of both worlds. He doesn't have to do anything with it, but he can outsource that entirely for me. And I don't get access to anything else inside his organization, just the rooms that he nominates for me to get access to, which is super handy and super secure and a lot easier.
Yeah, this is a vital feature for a lot of organizations, something that we'll use, and I'm sure a lot of other Teams Rooms partners will need this feature.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Has anyone had a play with Teams Rooms Pro portal here today? A couple hands here, a couple over there. Anyone else? No. Okay, cool. So is any customers here or is it partners? We've got customers here, customers here. Okay, cool. So we've got a mixture so for you guys, it means that you don't have to have a service desk managing your rooms. You can outsource it to the partners that are in the room here to be able to manage those rooms on behalf of you. So you can choose what rooms you want your partner to be able to manage on your behalf. Or alternatively, you can have an in-house service desk and manage the rooms just through the Pro portal. Absolutely.
So how's the login work? Is that access? We give them access to
their account. So
their accounts.
Yeah, exactly. So
if that's all set up between the partners and Microsoft, and we give access to that account.
Yeah, exactly.
That is still set up there.
100%. They have to have a Microsoft account, obviously. So the way that that would work is Kalo would add let's say my Microsoft account to as a guest inside of the Pro portal here, and I then get external access or federated access or external access into managing that. So all the permissions from an RBAC point of view are done as a guest account to that organization.
Do we need to run our
Sorry.
Yeah.
We've got people online.
Yep.
Do you mind just?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't give you the microphone. I do
No,
apologize.
that's fine.
Thank you, Joe. Good call there.
We did have a couple chime in to say they're also customers in the call.
Oh, wonderful. Excellent. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'll repeat for you, Higgsy.
So the question that was asked was, back a bit. What does that mean for? Let me just ask you again. Sorry.
Oops. Okay, so we're a customer.
Yeah.
We have a platform over here.
Yeah.
How do we add those rooms? We don't need to be, a certain account needs to be opened up on our phone, certain access.
Yeah.
The access on our side.
Yeah.
Because security, we're a bank,
Mhm.
so we'll lock everything down until we have to. And then how do we now assign those resources? Is it their company account? Is it the user account?
Yep.
So forth, so forth.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so those online. So basically what that means is that for a customer, again, we'll use a bank for example here, they will be allowing guest access for the partner organization to be able to manage the rooms on behalf of them. So using the Azure Active Directory or Entra, as we now call it, using those accounts and introducing them as guest accounts, and then they'll only have access through their partner pro portal, right? So I log into my partner Contoso pro portal, and I can see all the customers that I manage based on the permissions that they've allowed for me to have access to it. So as a partner, I'll see one bank, I'll see another bank, I'll see my company, and then when I click on that, I'll see all the rooms that are associated with that. But that's the only thing I get access to. I don't get access to any company data, no names. All I see is room names, and we'll go through all the different health checks and health setup.
Multiple partners, well, we added multiple
Partners. Does it support multiple partners? It does support multiple partners because you can have different partners that manage different rooms. So, for example, if you're a global company, let's say that you've got an office in Queensland, in Brisbane, and you've got one in Auckland, in New Zealand. Yeah, you might have different companies that manage those rooms in those local regions. So you can define which of those partners then manage it, and then you can obviously report back on who's better. All right, let's keep going.
Next one up.
All right.
The roles and permissions.
The roles and permissions. So just like you can do in Active Directory, we go through and we set up the different roles which they have. So everything from obviously global, you get full access to the rooms and management of those rooms. You can then break it down to only be able to view or modify room actions, read only and read and write actions, ticket management. So Pro Portal is also a ticketing system as well. So when incidents can automatically be generated and inside the Pro Portal when a device goes offline, for example, and it creates an incident, emails whoever you want to email, as well as also depending on what's actually wrong with the device, it can actually self-heal as well. So for example, USB camera got disconnected, the actual room system itself can do a USB reset automatically with the Pro Portal agent. So it will basically go, oh, let me execute a couple of things that Microsoft had defined to do some self-healing on these devices. And if it can't resolve it, then it will keep the ticket open. But it will tell you what it's done in order to try and auto heal, and then obviously escalate that to the partner. So for example, if you've got a partner that's managing these rooms on behalf, all the notifications go to the partner, and they're the ones that are obviously responsible for getting that room back online. But you also get notified when your rooms are offline as well as a customer.
Yeah, this is that remediation I spoke about. It replaces a lot of level 1 and even some level 2 help desk type task.
Yeah. So who can create roles and modify roles? That's another security function. Key management. So key management is a unique identifier for your tenant that and how the devices connect in. So key is basically a secure key, we'll call it, for your tenant. It's a big long string of numbers and letters and symbols for devices to be able to connect into your tenant. So if you needed to change that for whatever reason, if update management and room grouping and all that kind of stuff is there's lots of control around how you actually manage your rooms. Next slide. All right, planning. Yeah.
Is that self-healing for Android as well?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Not yet?
No.
Is there anyone?
The question was, is there self-healing for Android?
Yeah.
Not yet. So we will be as we get more capabilities in Pro Portal for what we can do with Android rooms. We'll start to build in some automatic functions. but it's a little further away, unfortunately. So
Yeah, the ability to remote manage and do things in Android is much more limited just as a general.
yeah, again, comes back to the point around Android devices, so many vendors and operating systems. So one of the really cool things is you can actually use the Pro Portal as a procurement tool. So if you set up multiple rooms for a customer's organization, or the customer's already got rooms of a certain type, let's say I'm a customer, I work for a bank, and I've got 50 rooms that are small rooms. I've got certain Teams rooms device, and it's the same device in every single room. All of a sudden, customers deciding, yeah, we're not really using this room all that much. How about we turn it into a meeting room? Well, they can go into the Pro Portal and you can actually purchase a new meeting room based on the spec and go through the whole procurement of that through a partner. So it will go through, create a purchase order, get it quoted, and do all the procurement for you through the Pro Portal with your nominated partner. So there's a lot of capabilities from inventory and purchase ordering and so forth through the Pro Portal. It also tells you all the steps that you've got to go through in order to make sure that the room is ready based on its size, dimensions, and equipment that's going into the room as well. So yeah, super powerful tool, more than just obviously techie stuff. Next slide. Monitoring. We'll look at my monitoring.
Sure.
Super.
So something I need to do every day through my role currently is I do need to monitor what's going on in Pro Portal for a number of Teams rooms, both ours and for clients. What Pro Portal is allowing us to do though is actually become more hands-off and more incident focused, because it's handling that monitoring for me. I don't need to check in on these rooms. I'm able to set up a range of health signals that we want to monitor per room, per client, per group of rooms, whatever it is, and to get instant notifications around that. To have tickets generated, like we spoke about, to have those tickets integrated into ServiceNow so that they can be coordinated through our normal ticketing process. And we're able to seamlessly escalate things when we need to. So when it is a level 1 help desk task and the automatic remediation or auto healing hasn't worked, it'll go to a level 1 help desk tech. If that's still not resolving it, we can escalate it. So if we need someone on site, or we need through our ServiceNow process to go to a level 3 help desk tech, or whatever it could be. And this is all really easy to optimize, really easy to configure. And that, honestly, that automatic remediation removes a huge amount of work, and it works. Higgsy mentioned restarting cameras. It'll also update firmware. It will check device health proactively and tell us what's going on in certain rooms and suggest changes that needs to happen because we're getting some hardware reliability issues or functionality. There's 9 categories of device health signal. You can see here. And these are the ones you really care about. I actually don't have any additional ones I want to add right now. There's combinations of these I want to tweak or have some changes which I've passed feedback on for. But this is enough for me to completely monitor the fleet. Now, I will say, at least from my perspective, there is times when I still do want to use third-party tools from the vendor tools for certain types of device monitoring. But the majority of things we need to do are all inside Pro Portal. And it's like, if your focus is making sure that your fleet is up, running, and functional, everything's here. And you'll see here on the reporting, it is maybe a little small for some of you at the back, but it's so granular and clear, and it's just such a nice dashboard view of what's actually happening, who's up, who's down, what health signals we've got to deal with. And so if I jump in and have a look at it, I get that instant instant sort of feedback, but I also have notifications and alerts set up, so I don't even have to be in Pro Portal to know what's going on.
So expand upon this a little bit more. There's multiple different statuses, and when devices are going through that.
Yeah, that's stay broken.
Yeah, it's going to actually you can change the criticality of certain things inside of the room. So I'm going to use an example here: Logitech Switch. So if anyone's ever used a Logitech switch or Crestron,
Quite a lot.
BYD pass-through, where you walk into a room, sit down, put your laptop down, plug in a USB cable, and it connects the room peripherals to your device. It takes them away from the MTR. So if you can imagine what that would do from the Pro Portal, alerting going, you've just lost camera, you've just lost display, you've just lost microphones, everything's gone down. It's freaked out. We've just made a whole bunch of changes to the Pro Portal, which now obviously monitor for this. So devices such as Logitech Switch and Crestron's USB pass-through solutions, it's now aware of when these devices are in play. So you walk in and plug in, and those peripherals move away from the room and connect to the user's laptop. It's not going to flag a whole bunch of alerts and so forth. Each of these peripherals can be set up with their own severity. So let's say you've got a meeting room and you've got 4 cameras in the room. If one camera goes down, it's going to give you a warning. It's not going to give you a critical alert because there's 3 other cameras that can be leveraged. If it detects that one of the microphone pods out of the 3 microphone pods is offline, it's going to give you a warning. But you've got 2 other microphone pods that you can still leverage. But whereas in the past, what's happened is if one of those devices go down, it's like, no, critical alert, no, don't use the room.
The room is broken.
The room is broken, don't use that room because one of the microphone pods is down, or one out of the 7 cameras is broken. So we've gotten a lot better about qualifying the status of the health of the room by checking to see if there's other peripherals in the room as well that will still make that room function. So you'll see them, they'll go from they'll change state. You can see here on the screen, they've got healthy, unhealthy, they've got different states of unhealthy. They've also got different states of healthy, but also they'll flag you when things needed actions and which ones are critical.
And what like if the automatic remediation is still in process, it also indicates that. So you might go, let's just leave it for we'll check back in on this because right now it might just be needing a restart or an update to a piece of firmware or whatever it might be.
Absolutely. So we check for everything from peripherals, the hardware of the room, connectivity, making sure that the device is actually online and signed in status of all the services like Exchange and Teams and so forth, as well as also the operating system's version, and if there's updates for that as well, the Teams room software, as Caleb mentioned before. And if there's any challenges as well with the account from a security point of view. So if for whatever reason a bad actor is trying to do a brute force attack on the account, then that account gets flagged in Teams Room's Pro Portal to say that there's sign-in risk or there's challenges against these accounts from outside of your organization. So all the security threats are also being monitored and alerted from here as well. So if I was trying to log in 15 times from a foreign country with one of the room accounts and I'm getting denied and keep on trying and trying, it's actually going to flag it in the Pro Portal here to say that, yeah, there's a security risk on this account for your device.
I've actually bricked accounts or blocked accounts because I previously was located in Asia for quite a long time, and I've tried to log in to test accounts and functionality and been blocked out because of conditional access and turned rooms off that were under testing. So yeah, it works.
So the final thing we'll cover is what happens if your device is faulty but it's not getting alerted. You can report an issue, so you can actually record an issue, create an incident, and raise that. If you're working with a partner, that alert goes to that partner. If you're a customer, you don't have a partner engaged, that alert will just go to your service desk and then for them to action. If you've got a noisy room, like a room that you know that you're expecting it to go down,
or it's under work, or
think of this construction going on in the room, or the network team is doing some work in there, and you're expecting it to flap up and down with alerts, you can suppress it. So you can basically push that room to sleep, and you won't get notifications for that room whilst it's in that suppressed state. And if you're decommissioning it, you can obviously unenroll it from the Pro Portal. The last one I was going to mention was Surface Hubs. So Surface Hubs are frequently devices that, go between rooms and sometimes when they're not being used, they go into a low power state and aren't being used, they go to sleep. We now got not alerting, but we're now monitoring the state of Surface Hub devices because they were going to, they were changing state all the time. And if they were going to sleep, it's like, no, the Surface Hub is offline, red flag, alert, because they're treating it like a room. So now we've gotten a lot better with Surface Hub, and now we monitor on when the device goes to sleep as well. Cool. All right. I'll get you to bring up the Q&A, the chat, if that's all right.
Yeah, no worries. I'll double check.
But question here. As it stands today, we don't have any other third-party application management apart from ServiceNow. So ServiceNow is the only application that we have that third-party integration with. So you can have your tickets being automatically raised in ServiceNow.
There are more integrations coming though.
There are more integrations coming, but we can't talk about what they are just yet. But yeah, it's a work in progress at the moment. But yeah, ServiceNow was first, where there are others coming as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is it like an additional monetary requirement for this, or is that this just part of the pro license?
Yeah, so the question was, is there any monetary requirements for this? Yeah, so it's all part of the pro license. If your team's rooms devices have a pro license, they will appear in the pro portal. You as a global admin, you simply just access to that and away you go.
Yeah, but it is worth flagging two things, just because that licensing question comes up quite a bit. For Pro Portal access, you need at least one Pro license. So you'll need at least one device to just access the admin center. But there is 60 days of free trial license for Pro license available through Microsoft through your M365 tenancy. And that's an excellent way to trial this out when you are migrating to make sure that this is the functionality for you, get a taste for it, and then you can migrate onto the Pro license. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, definitely check out the 60-day free trial.
This is a question that I'm getting pretty much weekly now, a couple of times.
Signals that it shows is nothing compared to or signals that don't even show significant amounts of details to make it useful.
Yeah.
Tell me when it's getting from that. Is at the moment, like we're halting deploying NTR on Android until it gets better, because at the moment we get told that we can talk to Microsoft as much as we like, and it's not going anywhere. It's not getting
If the operator possible of doing it.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. That particular question, I would have to do a separate session with you guys privately, with the product team to talk through that, because it's going to be very device vendor specific. So it would be us and your Android vendor that you've got in your organization, and Microsoft walking through how we can help you through that. Now,
even we need it, and we've been asking.
Okay.
We've been asking you guys for it. So
let's make it happen. Yeah. Unfortunately, only because I know you guys, I know we can do that. It's not something that we can do with every customer, of course. But there are certain challenges that we're faced with trying to get more device statistics and health information from Android devices. Again, coming back to the point before about different versions of Android and OEMs and so forth. There's no one size fits all, and we want to make sure that we can't just go, yeah, cool. Here's HP Poly's devices now reporting Android device health. And now we're doing Logitech's devices. Now we're doing Gaelink's devices, and we have to do it all at once. To be fair.
But it's also, and I understand that it's also the reliability of the information.
Of the information coming through.
So the low level of information that's there is not even accurate a lot of the time.
The comment was that the information that's coming through from the Android devices in the Pro Portal is not as reliable.
I will say, in the chat with Ilya on Monday, he raised this himself as his focus, a major focus for him over the next, several years, but year especially, to drag that Android management monitoring capability into parity as much as possible with the Windows.
And I'm also happy to share that reporting with you. But the greater functionality, because the microphone and speakers are a different vendor.
Yeah, not different vendor, but different devices.
Okay.
And when we found sometimes the room, the microphone the speaker works, it doesn't work. So could the Pro have ability to degrade the audio functionality?
It's either on or off. If it degrades it, it's going to be preventing it from happening if it shows it as degraded. But it's only going to degrade it if the signal that it's receiving from that device is faulty or degraded or something. So yeah, it can absolutely, yeah, 100%.
I would, just from someone that does a ton of MTR support, I would say the issue's probably got something to do with drivers, or like the first thing I think is there's
100%.
Probably motherboard drivers that need to be updated, or firmware on the device, because that's not how things should work. No. So if we're getting that behavior, my first thing would be to jump on, I'm not sure what device you have, but for example, if you had a Lenovo ThinkSmart Core, Crestron, sure, I'd check the chipset drivers, because sometimes when you update the firmware or you update the Windows version, those motherboard drivers, etc., are not automatically dragged down.
Is there a USB DSP connected to that particular room? It's trying to degrade the room because of audio.
It's not gonna disable the.
It should disable functionality.
Yeah,
but it is picking up something that is.
There's something wrong. I honestly think it's probably tied to a driver or similar issue, firmware driver, something like that. I'd troubleshoot from that direction first, because this very common with all vendors, that for whatever reasons we're missing certain updates to certain drivers or firmware in one component of that room, and that's causing issues. I've set a room up, left, and then got a call the next week and everything's working perfectly. Got a call the next week that mics and speakers don't work.
Yep.
And they definitely did work when I left, and it's been updated, but when it updated, it for whatever reason didn't drag down those particular chipset drivers. And so the newer version of Windows, the newer version of the Teams thing didn't like those older drivers that were still on the chipset. And
it's very likely that when you enrolled that device, it would have pulled down newer driver firmware updates as well. And maybe there might be a mismatch between the Windows version, the Teams application, and potentially the OEM firmware drivers. Last question.
You want me to?
Yeah, I'm going to give you my phone.
Complementing that question, instead of using a direct Teams call to do some direct probing on the mic and camera, is there any tools within Pro Management to actually probe audio quality?
Well, yeah, great question. I'm going to got the microphone up here. We're actually going to improve on that through Pro Portal coming next year. And the direction that we're taking with that is getting better simulation done in the Pro Portal. So all the things like audio health checks and everything like that, rather than testing a call necessarily, we're going to be simulating some of those tests on the actual hardware itself. And so you know that it, to take those morning health checks of the rooms, basically removing the requirement for you to go around and test the room, test the meeting, and make sure everything all works. We're going to make sure that you can do that from the Pro Portal. So rather than just, like in the days with, remember Polycom Group Series, you could just do like a test call on those devices, rather than having to do that remotely, just doing something similar like that through the Pro Portal. But checking the signals of everything, and making sure that your mic level, you get a reading out of the mic level through a simulated test and so forth. So yeah, stuff like that is definitely coming. Cool. Any questions online?
There was, but they were answered last time I checked. I didn't jump back over.
What is the correct PIM group for access to Teams Pro Management Portal, and does it require Pro Management access to grant access? Yeah, so I hope I answers the right way. In order for you to grant access to the Pro Management Portal, you as a global admin needs to be able to invite the other users within your organization. You have to be a global admin to access the Pro Management Portal. You can't be a Teams administrator to access the Pro Management Portal. So that's how it stands today. But what you can do is you can create access. Once you've logged into the Pro Management Portal, you can then create access for your colleagues in the Pro Management Portal with different permissions. So to reiterate, you've got to be a global admin to be able to create the accounts for the people that want access to to the different rooms inside of Pro Management Portal. So someone's got to have God mode before they can actually start assigning accounts.
Okay, so not everyone that accesses Pro Management Portal needs the global admin.
No, correct. One person has to have global admin to be able to create that.
It needs to be a global admin. So the initial experience where you're going to create those roles needs to be global admin, and then that can be handed off to partners or to internal teams that don't need that level of, because there's not many people in your organization, or shouldn't be, that have global admin to your entire tenancy.
Correct. Cool. If there's no further questions, wrap it up. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been great to see you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Next session is on signature themes room. So if you want to hang around for that, it's cool. Otherwise, thanks for coming.